bill will authorize additional funding to give Radio Farda the ability to confront this jamming more aggressively and to expand its reach across the country with additional shortwave capacity, additional satellite time, and increased proxy capacity. VOA Persian service. Voice of America provides 8 hours of television broadcast by satellite into Iran every day on a 24-hour loop. A few weeks ago, in response to the election, VOA added an additional hour of programming on a temporary basis. This legislation would authorize the funding to make that additional hour of programming permanent and explore adding to it. I would also add that traffic from Iran to VOA's website increased over 800% during one weekend earlier this month. That's because the Iranian people want unbiased information about what's happening in their country. The question is whether we take the steps necessary to ensure they get it. Internet activities. As Joe mentioned, Iran is one of the most wired countries in the world, and the young population of that nation has employed the internet to exchange information, network socially, and engage in dialogue with people from the outside world. From these very reasons, the Iranian government recognizes that the internet is a threat to its stranglehold over society and has tried to impose its repressive controls over it. The legislation would authorize funds to help ensure that Iranians have the hardware, software, and other tools to evade the censorship and surveillance of the regime online. We'd also like to examine the possibility of establishing one or more Farsi language internet-based television channels that would broadcast news and other information. In addition, there are news reports suggesting that non-Iranian companies have helped the government in putting into place filtering regimes and methods by which the government can monitor and even track down sources of political content deemed off limits by the regime. We'll ask the U.S. government to look specifically into this and report to Congress with its findings. Cellular phone activities. Millions of Americans, and particularly young Iranians, communicate via texting on cell phones. They not only download news onto their phones, but they also report and disseminate news by sharing photographs and videos. We've seen the most dramatic illustrations of that in the last couple of weeks. For this reason, the Iranian regime has tried to disrupt and monitor cell phone networks. The bill would authorize funding to foster the spread of technologies that would make it harder for the Iranian regime to crack down in this way. Human rights. Anyone who's seen even a bit of coverage of the dramatic events of recent days knows that the human rights abuses that have taken place are nothing short of appalling. There's a need to document, collect, and disseminate information about human rights in Iran, including abuses of human rights that have taken place since the presidential election. Our bill would authorize a program to do just that.